Hey guys, my name is Nora Franch, and welcome to the podcast Grateful Blessed Mess, daily reflections for those in the 12 steps. I am a fellow 12-stepper and certified mindset coach, and I am here to introduce you to the value of mindset coaching in your 12-step journey. So if you feel like you are stuck in the steps, if you're slipping and sliding with your abstinence, mindset coaching may help you as it did me, and you can find me at CatholicMindsetCoaching.com. These episodes are meant to invite you in to consider the truths of 12-step wisdom and to join in the very real struggle of living them in action. I hope that it feels almost like a mini meeting, and I invite you to contribute your own share on the Grateful Blessed Mess Facebook group to keep the discussion going. My comments are based on my own experience, so feel free to take what you like and leave the rest. But my hope is to encourage you on your own daily 12-step journey. As they say, you cannot stay clean on yesterday's shower. So without further ado, let's begin. Hey friends, today we are reading from Daily Reflections. It's on page 176, Open-Mindedness. We have found that God does not make too hard terms for those who seek Him. To us, the realm of the Spirit is broad, roomy, all-inclusive, never exclusive or forbidding to those who earnestly seek. It is open, we believe, to all men. That is an excerpt from As Bill Sees It, page 7, and I'll read the reflection. Open-mindedness to concepts of a higher power can open doors to the spirit. Often I find the human spirit in various dogmas and faiths. I can be spiritual in the sharing of myself. The sharing of self joins me to the human race and brings me closer to God as I understand Him. Okay, so I feel like there's a lot of different backgrounds people can approach this concept from. And I have my own personal one, and that is of growing up in the Catholic faith. And I just want to share what the steps did for me because, like, growing up that way, yes, I grew up with, like, we do this, we do that, we believe this, we believe that, God loves you. But I can say for sure, that I never connected to my higher power, who I call God, in a way that was loving and cozy, in a way that fostered like the tenderness of a relationship that I wanted. And I remember sitting in the rooms early on at like the beginners meeting on the south side of Chicago and feeling like someone was talking about how the biggest change that they've experienced in recovery was the development of a relationship with a higher power. And I remember I was so excited to know, like, what is the one thing that you're going to tell us that, that really changed your life? And when I heard that, I was disappointed because I felt like I had this block, this spiritual block between me and my higher power. And to give you a visual, there's a song actually that makes me think of it all the time. And it's from the show, the Broadway musical Dear Evan Hansen. And it's called like On the Outside Looking In. And you're like tapping at the window. I just felt like I was on the other side of a glass wall. And I wanted to get to my higher power and I wanted to have a good relationship with him and really like engage and talk to and be in relationship with my higher power. But it just kind of felt like he was inaccessible. Like I was on the other side of this glass wall. I could see him, but I couldn't get to him. And that was a massive spiritual block that the 12 steps actually broke through. They started to pull out those, I don't know if they like cracked the foundation of that difficulty, or I sometimes you can think like Jenga blocks, like programs started to take out like these key pieces of my tower that was blocking me from the spiritual life until it started to crumble. And it did, and it was really like, one thing was that the 12 steps told me to get on my knees and pray in the morning. That was not something that I was in the habit of doing. And so it had me start my day by praying. And then another thing the 12 steps had me do was, when in a moment of indecision, pause and sit quietly until, ask your higher power what to do and wait until, like intuitive thought comes. And that was not something I had ever done. And then at at step 11, we're taught to develop a, relationship, constant contact with our higher power. And these weren't things that I did. And I came to realize, like, I wanted this relationship. God felt far away. It made me so sad. But I was not doing anything to actively engage. And program gave me specific ways to start to do that. It said that this is a spiritual program, that this is the way to recover, and what you're going to do is you're going to meditate, and you're going to pray, and you're going to say this prayer, and then you're going to say this prayer, and you're going to do this every day. And eventually it was almost like someone was was attacking this brick wall or glass window with like a little pencil, and just little by little, like every time I actually did remember to pray, every time I remembered to pause, every time I got still, every time I said a prayer, that was starting to chip away at this wall, this block I had to my higher power. And eventually it really made headway. But it was slow. It was much slower than I wanted it to be. And you're really trusting the experience of other people when you're on that journey, and when you are going forward and just trying it. And it's one of those things, program really is one of those things of, you can't have contempt prior to investigation. You will never get anywhere. And that's the beauty of the gift of desperation, is that we are so desperate. We're like, screw it. I'll try it. Fine. All these things that we're just like, no, thank you. No, thank you. That's not for me. We get to the point where we're just like, screw it. If it worked for her, maybe it'll work for me. I'm all out of ideas and I am miserable. So it can't make me more miserable than I don't know where you are on your own spiritual journey, what background you have in terms of spirituality or faith. But all I know is that if your higher power, even something that was super helpful was, your higher power can be anything as long as it's not you. Because we constantly have tried living life, running the show. We've constantly tried our way. And the gift of having an addiction is that it's showing you that your way is not always the best way. And so sometimes even just that acknowledgement, that realization, making the group your higher power, making the sponsor your higher power, borrowing someone else's higher power to use for a while to try it on. I've heard all sorts of things and they're all helpful. As long as it's not you, it's moving you outside of yourself and in the right direction. So, anyway, my prayer for you is just that you are given this gift of open mindedness, and that if you feel a block between you and your higher power, that you just need to persist in that. And I just pray that you are given that gift of persistence and perseverance and trust and faith. And you just go a step at a time, getting on your knees in the morning and saying the third step prayer. Running to the bathroom when you're feeling really pulled to engage in your disease, and dropping on your knees and saying the serenity prayer. And in case, this might be helpful to some of you, something that one of my early sponsors suggested to me was getting very specific in the serenity prayer, whatever it is that you're struggling with, to name it. So you say, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I cannot change the fact that this substance is, here. The courage to change the things I can. I can not indulge in it, and the wisdom to know the difference. Something like that. Whatever it is, that might not have been best example, but where you can get really specific of, God, grant me the serenity to accept the fact that my husband isn't talking to me. Um, the courage to change the things I can, stop nagging him about it, and the wisdom to know the difference, the wisdom to know when it's time to say something about it or to let it lie. That's one that I use from time to time. So anyway, talk to a higher power. Just try it for 30 days, just like the big book suggests with sobriety. Try it for 30 days. See if anything changes. This is a spiritual program of recovery that has helped thousands. Perhaps it will help you too. With that, I pass. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you feel that mindset coaching could help you on your 12-step journey, please feel free to reach out and find me at catholicmindsetcoaching.com. But more than that, it's important to me to give listeners like yourself a place where you do not need to feel alone on your 12-step journey. And for that reason, I've created a Facebook group. It's called Grateful Blessed Mess. And it's a place where listeners can go to add their own commentary on the share for the day, in addition to my own, and for us just to have a conversation or start a back and forth where people can find support in their 12-step journey. This is not a replacement for 12-step work. This is something outside of the 12 steps. It is simply something that has a heart for the 12 steps and those who are in it. And so, welcome. If you're here, chances are you may also be a bit of a mess. And I hope that you can learn to find some gratitude in the blessings that have come from your messes.